This is about how we increase productivity by using coffee. Not in a way that we just drink a lot of it. Actually, we all moved to decaf. Most of the team sits there. We are a startup. We just started this stuff. Before that, I was YC founder, exited, worked at Pinterest on the generative ML. Right now, we at Coframe building self-optimized UIs, but I'm not going to be talking about what we are building. I'm going to be talking about how we're building what we're building. So Coffee is an open source internal tool. It's like our side weekend project. It's not our product itself. It has 1.3K stars on GitHub. It requires literally zero setup from you to actually use it. It's a Docker image. You pull the Docker image. It listens to your file system. It's do all the magic. No libraries, no installation. Please visit, put a star, and check out for more open source from Coframe as we're trying to build software that builds software so we can move faster. Also, it's an incredibly simple thing. It's not the first iteration of our front-end generation agents. This one is like, you can see a roastery folder. It's our previous attempts. But this one in the React is super simple. So you can fork, you can play with it, you can customize it, you can do whatever you want. Hacker-friendly, no SaaS, no enterprise, Git pull. A little bit about like why we building as a small team agents, like why we care. We have this like big vision of interfaces that self-optimize, they keep generating new UIs, they're launching A/B experiments, they get metrics, they generate new UI, text, buttons, stuff. And it sounds like a simple idea that should already exist. But to make it actually work, it requires a lot of pieces. Analytics, data ingestion, generation, integration with existing websites. Do not break anything. Make sure your copy is looking good. It's legally acceptable. All of that stuff. But we want to keep teams small because we believe that small teams can move faster right now by hiring agents instead of people. So you don't need to talk as much. You need to prompt more. So that's why we start building like internal code generation tools for front-end, back-end, and everything else, and also trying everything that's on the market. Yeah, this is a little bit more on Coframe. Like there was CLI interfaces. They're still here. Then there was visual interfaces. Then there was web, mobile. The next thing we believe is smart interfaces that adapt for every user, and someone need to optimize them. Us. So there is other code gen, V0. Check them out. They public, they're pretty good. If you want 0 to something, there is also screenshot to code. We did Coffee, slightly different approach to that. It's supposed to live with your existing code base versus be somewhere else, and you copy paste it in your code base. Let's check a quick video of how Coffee works, and then I will explain how we got to it. It's on my mobile connection. I should have clicked play button before. OK. You just type Coffee component and type prompt within the component itself. It injects component in your code base. It generates new component behind the scenes. Then you keep changing the prompt in instructional way. It keeps tweaking the component it just generated. So at all this time, you don't actually see the code that was generated. You just see UI. We found it very useful to look, prompt, see, prompt, quick iteration. And when you're done, you press pour, you type the prop pour and the name of component. And then this automatically create component. Coffee is gone. At this point, it's just normal component, normal code that you just write yourself. That's it. So what about history of that? It's not the like, it looks sexy, it looks fun, it works well. Before that, we tried a few other things. We tried all the Copilot stuff, copy paste back and forth, killing the iteration spree. Also, what we found out, if you're going to prompt with GPT a lot of code, you just have huge file. Because the tendency for the GPT is just to add more code to your file versus extract something elsewhere. And what you end up with is like just huge files that doesn't have components and a lot of copy paste. Coffee tries to enforce you to create components. Second thing that we want to make our own agents. We want them to be able to pull data, pull files that we want, not like Copilot authors want. The first iteration of Coffee that Josh built, actually, founder of Coframe, was browser extension, where you click on stuff like, I want to edit this component, and right in UI, in your web app, you type, I want to make it red. It was extremely hard to make it actually work, to connect component visually with the code base. That's why we went to this like mutual approach where you tell it which part of the code and which props it allowed to use, but then it goes to separate file and edit completely separate file from scratch each time. It just works faster, reliable, and you can get good results. Okay. We can go for the quick demo of what just happened there. Oh, that's a big screen. Okay. Demo. I have a simple like Next.js website that literally, I don't know, can you see anything? I can't. That has just input form and name is not displayed anywhere. And we would want to create new component. So we would type coffee, we would pass a prop, it would be actually inside, so it would actually be able to display that prop and work with your functions, whatever. And we would say, greet the user by name. So what happened behind the scene is that our Docker image that was attached to your folder found a file that was just saved, that had coffee component in it. It injected component inside the code base, and it started generating some code for it. So we have some component here. It doesn't look really great, so use Tailwind. Make it great and fancy. Because it knows the context, it has the history, you can just keep chatting with it. It's not like 0 to something. Okay, hello. I like it. Then we can say, make it dark. And then again, it sees the file change, there is new prompt. It knows which component this prompt belongs. It's modified that component. And we're still generating. We're lucky we have internet connection. Okay, now we have dark theme component. And once we're done, we say pour into greeting TSX. So when we did that, it just created a normal greeting component. It's just very normal thing that we would just create ourselves at this point. Oh, for some reason it cached my old component. That's a bug. Is it new one? Let's restart Webpack. Yeah, I already named previous component greeting and deleted it, and Webpack probably cached it. Okay. No. Huh. Say hello. Let's try that again and name component differently. So say hello to user. Live demos, exciting, always break, every time, except you on the video. That's why we had the video. Okay, now it has a greeting. We could make it fancy, but I will skip this part. Pour hello banner TSX. So now we have component hello banner. It's created here. We have it here. It's just normal code, git commit, git push, you're done. Excellent developer. Okay, let's go back to what's next. Please feel it's just one Python file, one file for agent, one file to watch files on Python, and that's it. There's not much more. So you can create much more sophisticated things with that according to your code base. Okay, what's next? We keep trying to make generation better. Right now, a lot of our code is actually backend, not frontend. And one of the big things that we change is how we approach backend code generation. Our current iteration, which is not open source yet, is storing prompts in the code base as MD files alongside. So you have MD file, you have your main file, and you have your test file, and they all attach together. And from MD file, you can always keep regenerating your actual file or test file. In this way, we believe in future, if we come up with better way to write software, we would not need to rewrite or refactor whole thing. We would need to update the prompts or prompt templates and rerun generation. Also, in this way, we think that we can fix bug in the future by introducing, like, here's a bug, add it to the prompt, from the prompt generate whole thing. We want our code to be always self-optimizing, the same as UI. On the UI front, the more exciting idea we're going for is server-driven UI. I don't know how much of you worked with like mobile apps or like very complex enterprise platforms where half of your UI is actual on front end, another half is configured by backend. This is what we believe is the next step for us to generate UI on the fly. So UI mostly consists of JSON configuration. Here's the layout, here's components, here's function to call. It sends to the shell renders UI. In this case, for LLM, it's easier to come up with plausible JSON and put some fields in it versus like generate whole UI with all the code and everything like that. Also, it gives much more control for front-end developers because they assume that whatever, like anything can happen with any configuration, they need to render okay-ish app. So that's where we're going right now. We might well throw GPTV support inside the Coffee as is, but stay tuned. The next thing will be server-driven UI and our backend code generation tool. Yeah, we're also a very small team. We're building those exciting things on the weekends and on the day works from 8 to 8. We build in living interfaces. So talk to me. This is my email. Go to our website. Try the demo. Yeah, thank you.